Two guys in their early 50s with one dream: to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, we're back. It is yet another bumper episode of the Missing Links Golf Show. I'm excited, and I'm excited for a couple of reasons. First of those is that we're going to record, hopefully, twice this week to make up for your week of annual leave. And the plan is that we're recording on the nights either side of Origin 3, the decider at Lang Park.
Correct. See, here I was thinking that you were going to say you're excited because you're going to talk about your golf, not necessarily my golf. But hey, let's pivot and tangent to the Blues, really up against the wall against the Maroons tomorrow night because, I hadn't thought about that for a while, but yeah, thanks for reminding me about the great effort that the Blues have managed to put on this year.
No, it's all good. I wasn't finished on the list of things I'm excited about tonight. One of those is...
you said two things.
Two other things. But let's talk Origin just for a second because the decider's coming up. It's not going to be long before we can unpack who played, who won, what happened. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say... another one. Here I'm trying to preempt.
Predict.
What you're going to say,
don't predict.
I thought you were going to say it won't be long before it's all over.
Well, I think it's all over. It is now. Yeah. I reckon my learned opinion on this one, I just don't think you can get enough money on the Maroons for Game 3. I think it's fair to say this series on paper looked like it should have been pretty competitive. However, as you and I both know, the great game we call rugby league is not played on paper. It's actually played on grass. And as it turns out, the Maroons have made that shift from grass or from paper to grass far more effectively than the Blues. And realistically, except for the period of time when we were up against 12 men, just have not looked likely.
Look, and to be honest with you, I think there needs to be a rule change in Origin just to make it fairer. That the Maroons should only get 12 on the park, right? Whereas and the Blues stay with 13. Yeah. I think it's the only way to keep Origin competitive.
Feels that way at the moment.
In this day and age. So
feels that way at the moment. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they've really played well so far this series. Having said that, a few interesting changes into the Blues lineup. We've got Jackie Bostock on the wing taking over from Brian To'o. And you've got to say, Brian's been a magnificent servant for the Blues for many years, but just getting out jumped consistently and probably not a bad idea to bring in the tall timber and see what goes on.
Yeah. I mean, it was very obvious, and we talked about it. Just the advantage that Fafita had over To'o in the last Origin, and I think it's a move that Daly had to make. I don't think you could have left it where it was, and given how he just had a shocker in Game 1, and then got outplayed and outjumped in Game 2, you can't leave a massively exposed hole out there in a pretty key position like the wing. And again, the wing is a very pivotal position in today's game.
In the modern game.
For sure. You've got to be able to jump. You've got to be able to tackle. You've got to be able to run the ball hard. And To'o does run the ball hard, and he gets not just the Panthers but the Blues out of danger pretty often with after the kick chase. But look, at the end of the day, he doesn't have the height to compete with these big boys that are currently in the game. So I think it's a pretty good decision.
Look, I think it was the only decision. We called it after Game 2, so I'm happy to see that happened. Good to see Sir Donald Bradman, the best, back in the lineup as well. Be interesting to see how he goes in the centre. So,
Yep. And thoughts about having a halfback and a halfback in the game?
2 6.5s, not a fan. No, you need a 6 and a 7, not 2 6.5s. I think we've covered that ad nauseum. I can expect to see that fail miserably once again. But hey, who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen in the game of rugby league. I mean, the Dragons had another win on the weekend, so that just proves it.
So did the Eels.
They did. That also proves it.
So maybe the cellar dwellers. It could be the time of year, right?
Maybe this is a threefer, and the Blues will get up. You never know.
It's the week of the underdog.
Yeah, potentially. All right. Well, enough about that. Let's get into some golf, Andy Walker. There has been some golf played.
Are we then going to be commiserating on Thursday night when we record? Is that the plan?
It's possible. It is possible. I wouldn't rule it out. But let's talk golf, Andy Walker. There's been some golf played. It's exciting. It's one of the main reasons why I've dialed into this episode tonight is to talk about golf. Not just any golf and not just anyone's golf, but my very own golf.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to hear after the layoff how you actually went. Potentially could have been a bit of rust in the first few holes. And
I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So I'm very interested to hear how you went.
Well, I'll tell you what, let me give you a little bit of background. So Pilgrims will be well versed in this, but obviously with all of the shenanigans going on and the challenges health-wise in my family in recent months, I'd kind of made the decision to sort of focus on the things that count, and that meant that golf had to sit a little bit on the back burner. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to be able to play as much as I want to play in the short term, and I probably wasn't going to be able to practice as much as I wanted to practice in the short term. So,
definitely,
as we said previously, everything has a season, and you've got to focus on certain parts of your life at different times, and this was definitely one of those.
Yeah, so, and I certainly think part of that as well, and we have a tendency to talk about this every year with your particular situation, is that once we get into the winter months and it's pretty sort of short daylight hours, you're always going to struggle to be able to put the time in, and certainly getting out after work is a no-go. So I think this time 100%. Has always been a bit of a struggle, and so I'm interested to hear how you dealt with that.
No, it's all true. I mean, I have made some efforts to get into the high performance center when possible, but in fairness, it hasn't been a huge amount. And there's been, I think you've cast your mind back when we were telling the stories of the Duntry Open, which was actually my last competitive round. The big struggles that I'd had were with driver, and then also short game was a bit of a battle. But in particular, the driver was really putting me behind the 8 ball off the tee a lot of the time, and you just can't chase the game like that. So I've had realistically a couple of months off. Sometimes not a bad thing to reset, and enabled me then to come back in on Saturday to my first competitive round in around 2 months. Andy Walker, it's probably the longest layoff in reality that I've had since we started this show a couple of years ago. So I came back into that, as you would like to do, into a monthly medal stroke event at the local club, and in conditions that I've got to say very much resembled a Christmas pudding in terms of the consistency of the ground, because we've had a lot of rain lately.
It's been a bit wet.
Yeah, so, pretty easy scenario to walk back into. Not too much going against me on that front. But that being the case, it meant that I went in with zero expectations. Like, I decided to approach this round to say, I feel gratitude to be on the course. I'm happy to be out there. I'm happy to be having a game. More importantly, young Mr. Hinks came along as caddie for the day.
Oh, nice.
And that's been the first time that we've gotten him back out on the course since the diabetic episode that sort of started this whole chain of events back in March. So
it'd be interesting to hear if there's any words of wisdom that came from the young Mr. Hinks, because he's been in good form when he's been out in the course. I've been pretty impressed with some of the advice that he's been given as caddy in chief.
He's a good man. He will feature in the story. Don't worry. So we we were playing the medal, as I said, the monthly medal. We were the last group of the day on Saturday.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Slow day then.
Yeah. So 12:31 tee time. I think we teed off pretty close to 1:45 as a result of that. The group's clogged up. We teed off on the 10th. So we started on the back nine first, which I'm not a mad fan of that strategy because you go par 4, par 3, par 5. You don't really get into a rhythm with driver early in the round, which, some people like to tee off on 10 only because teeing off on 1 has out of bounds down the right-hand side. And for a lot of the right-handers that block fade the ball, they like to avoid that early on. But anyway, the way I look at it, you got to play them all eventually, so whatever.
Yeah, so given like it was, you got onto the 10th at 1:45.
Yeah.
Daylight and dark sort of is just after 5. I mean, that's running it pretty tight.
Yeah, on a stroke day, yeah.
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 For sure.
Yeah. So, it did get close at the end, but we'll get there. Yeah, right. We'll get there. Yeah, so anyway, we started on 10. So stepped up on 10. 10's a little bit of a slight dogleg left par 4. I actually hit a really good drive up the middle, hit the ground, and I sent you a photo of this, Andy Walker. I had about 6 inches of rollout on that drive, which was a sign of things to come. There was no roll. Pretty much you had to play the golf course in the air. You really couldn't do much on the ground. It was, as I said before, it was Christmas puddingy. So what that meant was that quite often you're playing your second from a little bit further back, a club or two further back than what you're used to.
Yeah. So it could be said then that you didn't hit the ground running.
Didn't hit it rolling, that's for sure. Also, it was cold. So you kind of got that feeling that you probably need an extra club a lot of the time. So we stepped up. I took a 7-iron for my second. Caught it a bit fat, and on wet ground, it's not amazing to catch it slightly behind the ball. So I finished sort of short left. Now, if you remember the 10th hole, short left, you've got that bunker short of the green, but you've also got a couple of overhanging trees that kind of impinge on the left side. So I was beautifully placed in the rough, short of that bunker, with overhanging branches, meaning I couldn't hit a lob shot at the green.
Nice. And
kind of had to punch something low over the bunker and try and stop it to a front pin.
Is that a good luck type of shot?
It was one of those ones where you go, just anywhere on the green would be amazing.
On the green is good.
So I couldn't play my sand wedge, so I took my 48-degree wedge, played it back in the stance, and kind of tried to hit a low, stabby, spinny kind of shot. It did get over the bunker, and it just crept on the front of the green, so I was left with about probably 12 feet for par.
Yep.
I didn't make it, Andy Walker.
Yes.
So we started with a bogey, but that's okay. That was okay because, from where I was there, to be honest, that pitch, it could have been anything. So we moved from that point to the 11th.
So what were you playing off?
Oh, on the day I was playing off 11.
11. Okay. Wow. All right.
GA of 10.0, which on the calculation
must have been playing the championship course, yeah.
Yeah. Playing and we were off the blues. Actually, we were off behind the blues for most of the tee boxes. So
yeah, okay.
It was playing pretty long.
The full course.
Yeah, absolutely. So we moved to 11. Sorry, 11 par 3. It was playing 160 meters. Pin was tucked right over the right-hand bunker. So I took 5-iron and I hit a pretty good 5-iron at the right edge. Just got over the bunker, actually held the right edge. So again, I was probably, I would say about 15 foot up the hill for birdie.
Yep.
Hit a really good putt, just broke left at the hole and missed by about 2 inches and left with a tap-in par. So
nice.
No harm, no foul. So what are we, 1 over after 2?
Yep.
So we moved to 12. 12's, you remember 12? 12's that par 5 with the water all the way up the left. You got the two dams.
Would we call 12 your nemesis hole?
No, we wouldn't. It's boom or bust though, generally. Like it's a par 5, so it's an opportunity hole, but it really can go horrendously wrong if you spray it around. So anyway, I as per usual, aim at the right hand edge of the fairway, and if you bleed one back, that's great. If you leave it out to the right, not a big deal. So I hit a pretty what felt like a good drive off the club at the right side, and I think it got a bit spinny, kind of ballooned, started drifting left, continued drifting left, came down right on the top because the fairway, at the edge of the fairway, it drops away really sharply down into the hazard. The ball came down right on the top of that crest where it starts to drop.
Yep.
Landed, and fortunately the ground was very wet and it didn't roll, so it didn't go down. Otherwise I had a very real chance of going down in the hazard, but it stayed up, so that was good.
Okay, good. Bit of fortune then.
I breathed a sigh of relief at that point, but I was quite a long way out, so there was no option of going for the green in 2. So I hit 5 wood up to the corner. Actually hit a really nice 5 wood up to the corner. I was I was about 110 out, so I hit a pitching wedge to the centre of the green, and had a good look at birdie, probably from about 25 feet, but it was a putt that you kind of feel like you could make.
So I had the putt wasn't on the back tier then?
No, it was actually just at the bottom of that. So it was one of those putts where whichever way you go, you'd probably break the other way because you had that drop off, or the climb to the drop off from the other perspective to the left. So anyway, I thought, you know what, there's not a lot in this, and quite often it's easy to overread the greens at Royal Dubbo. So I had a good run at it, and it was looking pretty good. And then about 3 feet short of the hole, it started breaking pretty sharply right and actually missed and ran onto about 7 feet past.
Oh, okay.
So I had a 7-footer coming back, which I thought, well, that's okay. I've seen it run past the hole. I think it's just going to drop gently left. So I aimed right edge, hit a nice putt, rolled beautifully, line end over end, except there was no break, Andy Walker.
Right.
So
okay. It's not ideal.
Moseyed on past the right edge. Tap-in bogey.
Bit disappointing.
A little bit, but, it's one of those ones where you go, I had a run at the birdie putt that I probably didn't need to do. And the par putt was a good putt, just the break wasn't there that I thought was there. But I actually hit a good putt.
So it sounds like there was still a little bit of speed in the greens then.
The greens were good.
Even though it was a bit wet.
Yeah. No complaint about the greens. The greens were rolling beautifully. Absolutely. So we moved to 13 par 4, out of bounds up the left, comes back the other direction on 12. I hit a drive, struck it well, but blocked it a little at the left edge. Looked like it was going to hold the left edge, but just kind of rolled into the rough. And unfortunately, when I got up there, I noticed that I was totally blocked out by an overhanging branch.
Yeah,
so
right.
I would have hit a pitching wedge in, but I couldn't because there's this thumping big overhanging branch that was totally in the way. So I channeled my inner Andy Walker. I got my 7-iron out, put it behind the back foot, hooded down.
I like it.
Gripped down onto the steel and punched one out. Actually, it was quite a good shot. It nearly crept on the left edge, but you know how that green, there's a bit of a rise that comes into the green there. It just sort of rejected a little bit, rolled down on the left edge. But it was a pretty good result, to be honest. I was quite happy with that. And I was standing there. One of my playing partners had hit his shot to a similar spot, but he was slightly further away from me, so he got to hit first. So he took his lob wedge out, and you can see where this is going. And he thinned it straight through the green, coast to coast, which I don't know about you, but like I took my putter over and my sand wedge over as well, and I was standing over it, and I'd just seen this horrendous visual of a chip, and I'm like,
can't do that.
This doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
So I put the wedge down. I thought, I'm just going to putt this, roll it up the hill across the green and see how we go. And I rolled it up.
And it's a percentage play. I mean, given the wet conditions, you know, and if it's not firm under the ball, at least like with a wedge, if you know that it's still, you know, and even though it's KQ, if you know it's firm under the ball, you can still have confidence that the blade's just not going to dig into the ground, and even if a slightly off strike, you're still going to get a reasonable result. But in wet conditions, it's just
ugly. So there was
margin for error is zero.
These were all the things that were going through my mind at the time. Okay, I was standing over it, and I went, last time I played this hole, from about the same position, I chipped in for birdie.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that, and then I went, I've just seen my playing partner knife one across the green.
Yeah.
And then I've gone, it is pretty wet, and I haven't played in about 2 months.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the putter. To be honest, I think it was the right call.
Yeah.
So I rolled one up. I rolled one up, actually. It was not a bad lag. It rolled about 3 or 4 feet past the hole, which was fine. The only thing is it went to an upslope past the hole, so I had a nasty little sort of 4-footer down the hill. But I made it Andy Walker, and we saved par with a good up and down. So that was
nice.
That was exciting because and I think looking back on it, putter was the right call. It was absolutely the right call.
Yeah. So what? So 2 over through 4. So a reasonable start. I mean, bogey par. You take that.
I was feeling pretty good at this point, to be honest. I was quite happy. So then we moved to 14. Now 14 plays up the other side of that dam. So you got water up the right instead of water up the left. Trees up the left. It's a fairly narrow target, to be honest, and the trees up the left are no joy either. If you bail out away from the water, it's of no real advantage. You just got to step up and hit a good tee shot on this hole, which I'm happy to say I did. I hit one of my better drives of the day, just smoked it straight up the centre, which was really good.
Nice.
But again, 0 rollout, so I felt like I was probably 20 metres further out than I normally would be, even though I'd hit a good drive. So I took the extra club, took 7-iron, hit a pretty good shot, hit the front left of the green, hit and spun, and then caught the hill. I went down the hill into that bunker.
Yeah.
And that bunker's probably 2 to 3 metres below the putting
it's pretty
surface.
Sharp. Yeah, pretty sharp fall off there, isn't it?
And it's one of the nastier bunkers on the course because you've really got to kind of fly your bunker shot quite a long way. But then if you catch it thin and you go over the green, you've got water on the other side of the green. So there's a bit to think about. So what I've figured recent times is on these sorts of shots is actually taking a 52-degree or a 48-degree wedge out of the sand and just playing the same sort of bunker shot as what you would do with your sand wedge. And you just get that little extra carry because you're not using quite so much loft. So I did that. Didn't hit a great shot, but I did get it on the green. I was probably about 20 feet away, and then lagged up a good putt, which nearly dropped, but didn't. But it was a tap-in bogey. So anyway.
Nice.
Not massive damage done. At this point, pretty happy trying to keep doubles off the card, to be honest.
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, if you're gonna go bogey par throughout the whole round, I mean, on a medal day,
you'd be okay with that.
With your first round back, you take that every day of the week.
I would be okay with that. Now we move on to 15. So 15 par 3 up the hill. It was playing 178 metres.
Yep.
All the way uphill, over 2 dams. So
in the cold.
In the cold, yeah. Fortunately, not a lot of breeze, but anyway, it was playing long. So I took 4-iron. I pulled it slightly, missed the green to the right. I actually missed the green to the right. I missed the bunker to the right, and I was right of the bunker.
Oh.
So I had to pitch over the bunker to the green.
Would you call that a pull?
Yeah, it was a pull. It was a solid pull. Little bit of a hooky pull. So it wasn't a great. It actually was not a great strike, to be perfectly honest. But anyway, it fortunately didn't find any of the water. It wasn't in any major danger, and it was kind of sitting on. Had a reasonable lie. We were playing preferred lies as well because of the wetness of the ground, so that helped. But hit a really nice pitch over the bunker onto the green. I was probably about 8 to 9 foot below the hole, and my same playing partner who had bladed the wedge 2 holes prior had a putt of about 3 feet longer than mine on exactly the same line.
Yeah,
which he hit and just missed, but gave me a beautiful read. So I was able to hit the putt and nailed it. So we made par. So that was good.
Nice.
That was a win.
Nice. So you're keeping your bogey par starting in place, right?
Yeah, marching along quite nicely.
Nice.
And let me tell you that on 16, I also continued that by making bogey. Yeah.
And I actually thought you may have broken that streak, given it's the easiest hole in the golf course.
I did not break that streak on 16, even though it is the easiest hole on the golf course, largely because I blocked the drive into the trees on the left. And from there, kind of didn't do much wrong, but, you know, I burned one chipping out. But you'll be pleased to know, Andy Walker, I did break the streak on 17 by making another bogey.
Yeah, see, that's not where you should be breaking your streak, right? Like, you break your streak when you're making pars, not necessarily getting on the train, right?
I know. That was a little bit disappointing. And that was one of those ones, like, I hit a reasonable drive, but I was on the left side of in the rough, just off the fairway. But I was still 200 metres out, you know, like, and it's a long par 4 to begin with.
It is. It's a long hole.
But I did also catch an overhanging branch with the drive, which, you know, probably cost me about 30 metres and no rollout. So I was still hitting a fairway wood into the green, and I just missed the green right, pitched on, nearly made the putt, didn't make the putt. You know, it was one of those ones where you kind of go, well, look, you didn't do a lot wrong. And
it is a sort of a par 4.5, right?
I think so. I do think so. I really do. You know, if it was a par 5, I don't think anyone would really say too much about that. Like, I think you could, and it does play par 5 for the ladies anyway. So then we move to the 18th, so our 9th, but the 18th. Now, you might remember the 18th, when you talk about nemesis holes.
I wasn't actually going to mention it, but now that you bring it up.
And anyway, so we're standing on the tee, first player in the group hit his tee shot and missed the green left and was left of the bunkers. And collectively in the group, we had a conversation about the fact that left is not the best place to miss this particular green on the high side. So I pulled 4-iron again because it was playing just over 170 metres. And after pulling my 4-iron on the previous par 3, I blocked it on this one and was left of the left bunkers.
Nice.
Cursing myself on the walk all the way up. So anyway, we both get to our balls and we're in the rough left of the bunker. There's nothing you can do, right? Like you're either going to hit it in the bunker, which is not good because then you've got to play a downhill bunker shot, or if you pitch it over the bunker, the only way of stopping it really is hitting the pin. Otherwise, you're going to be down on the fringe on the other side. So I honestly hit one of the best pitch shots I think I could possibly hit. Got it just over the bunker, landed in the fringe, rolled down past the hole, kept rolling to about 20 feet below the hole. You know, and it's one of those ones where you go, I'm 20 feet, but I can't do any better than that. Like, I just should not have put myself there. So I rolled my par putt up, and it sat like an inch on the left edge. Tap in bogey, what might have been. But anyway, not a disaster. We were +6 after 9 holes.
Okay, well, that's you take that. I mean, you know, not playing in 2 months, medal day, a long course, no run. You take that, after 9 holes, surely.
Well, you have to, because it's what was on the scorecard.
Well, yeah. But at the start of the day, if you were offered that and say this is what you were going to shoot on the first 9, then
it was probably, I reckon, it was probably the over/under was about there. Like if you'd said to me on the tee box, I'll give you 6 over, don't play the 9 and go straight to straight to your second 9, or play the 9 and see what you get, I probably would have played the 9, but I still would have been okay with it. Like I felt like it was about it was reasonable. And again, I was playing off 11 for the day, so 6 over 5 over 2 nines, and you go, well, that's my handicap, so that's actually not too bad.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, it wasn't bad, wasn't great, but the biggest thing for mine was there were no doubles. I didn't get out of shape. There were a couple of, there's a 3-putt bogey on 12. That was a bit annoying. And there were a couple of putts that burned the edge. So, I felt like if it had been a 4 over, I wouldn't have been too surprised. You know what I mean?
I also feel like 10 to 18 is a little bit more difficult 9 than 1 to 9. You've got those couple of par 4s. 3 and 4 that are pretty tough on the front 9. But apart from that,
it's gettable.
The front 9 is, I find, to be a lot easier than 10 to 18.
I think it probably is. Yeah, definitely the back end of the front 9 for sure. So speaking of the front 9, let's go to the front 9. So I think the way I was feeling was I felt like my driving was okay, but just kind of slightly not quite in sync, but not far off, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't really losing them wide, but I just weren't. I'd hit a couple of good drives and a couple of sort of average drives. Approach play was struggling a little bit in the wet conditions, but scrambling around the greens was pretty good at this point. So, Anyway, so we go to the first. So the first hole, or the 10th hole for the day, par 5. So I hit a good drive up the centre of the fairway. Hit a good 5-wood also up the centre of the fairway, which left me with a gap wedge in. Hit what I thought was a really good gap wedge about pin high to a centre pin, and it's hit and it's sucked all the way back off the front.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
So I felt slightly violated. But
I mean, that's conditions of the day, I think. I mean, on a day where it's a little bit firmer, that's not going to happen, right? But with the conditions being pretty soft, a lot of it's just going to hit, and if you've got any sort of spin on the ball, then it's going to jag back, to the front of the green if there's any slope on the green.
In retrospect, the proper players probably go a little bit less lofted wedge and 3/4 swing to take some spin off, realistically.
Yep.
Rather than, sort of hit a stock gap wedge. Anyway, is what it is. I did manage the 2-putt, so we walked away with par. Ball's forgiven. It's all good.
Yeah. And broken the bogey train as well from the previous 3 holes.
That is a good point. Wasn't even thinking about that because I was trying not to think about score. So we moved to the second hole. So second hole, dogleg par 4, doglegs around to the right. You definitely don't want to go right off the tee, but also you kind of don't want to push it too far left because you can really run through the fairway and get in some nasty bother in the trees. So I hit, to be honest with you, I hit probably one of my worst strikes with driver of the day. It was a bit of a heely cut, so it cut into the left trees. And it was, I think I probably got a little bit lucky. I had a bit of a gap, but it wasn't a great gap. However, managed to get a 5-iron down probably about 20 metres short of the green, 25 metres short of the green. And from there, hit a pitch to around about 3.5 feet, knocked in the par putt.
Nice. That's good scrambling. I mean, from the left trees, to be able to punch a 5 down to just short of the ground and get up and down, and that's that little sort of punch 5-iron that there was a caddie you had probably 12 months or so ago that taught you that shot.
I've used it.
I've
used it so often. It's not funny.
Yeah. And look, and I said at the time, at a country golf courses, like Dubbo, and I learned to play it at Mollymook, right? You had to have that shot in the bag at a country golf course where there's big gum trees, and you've just got to be able to keep it low and get it running up the fairway. Like it's such a useful shot to have in the bag.
It sure is. It's been used quite a number of times. Thanks, appreciate that. So we move on to the third hole, which is 12 for the day. So I hit a good drive up the center of the fairway. Again, just hit and plugged. So I was probably 2 clubs further out than what I normally would be. So I took 6 iron, caught it a bit heavy. It was a bit like the 7 iron on the on the first hole, but it was stayed straight. So I was about probably 30 metres short of the green. Now, this green, it's quite a small green, and it's got a bunker on the left, but it's got the 2 bunkers on the right with a really big shoulder. Particularly the first one. And the pin was on the right-hand side. It was just kind of tucked over the shoulder of that that bunker. So really hard to get at. Anyway, so tried to put that out of my mind and just hit to the center of the green to give myself a chance. So I pitched it over. I hit a reasonable pitch, but just kind of caught the backside of that downslope off the back of that bunker and kicked it through to the back of the green. So, it was an unlikely putt, which ended up in a 2 putt. So it was a bogey. And we walked off, and we walked to the 4th hole.
But even still, I mean,
it was okay.
tough, par 4. So you've just made two pars in a row. So, make a bogey, walk off to the next hole, and you're not in bad shape.
I was feeling okay at this point because I was still sort of thinking, well, this is good. To get through the first 3 holes, 1 over, if I could get through 4, say 2 over, pretty good shape. So we go to 4, which again, it's a long par 4, but it doglegs around to the right. So you don't want to take on the corner because there's that massive big pine tree that you just cannot get over. It's like a catcher's mitt. So I didn't do that. I blocked my drive into the left trees, which was not amazing because I was about 200, 210 out.
Yeah.
But I was blocked a bit by another tree about 50 metres further down. So I had to, the challenge was to take fairway wood, take my 5 wood, and aim about 20 metres right of the green and try and cut it around this tree.
Right.
So that was the challenge. So I took my 5 wood and I aimed it about 20 metres right of the green, and I pulled it and double crossed it into the right trees at pace. It hit one of the trees. We didn't know where it had gone for a minute, but got down there and found it, and it was in the tree line, pretty dead.
Yep.
So I thought, I'm here for 2. I can't go at the green for 3. All I can do is punch out into the fairway for 3, try and get up and down for bogey, but at this point, really limiting the damage. And I had a conversation with the caddie at this point. I said, this is bad.
Yep.
And he went, no, it isn't. And I said, it's bad. This is really bad. And he goes, no, it isn't. It is what it is. And you're just deciding that it's bad and putting judgment on it.
Oh, wow.
And I went,
that's pretty cool.
And I said, no, seriously, this is bad. And he said, well, are you going to sit here whinging about how bad it is, or are you going to try and play a golf shot? And I went, fair point. Fair point. So I punched out, not bad actually, pretty decent punch out, pitched on. My pitch kind of hit and stopped, unfortunately, so I was left with about 12 feet and literally just missed the bogey putt, so I tapped in for double. Disappointed, obviously, but far out some wise words from the young man in the tree line.
Yeah.
He wasn't having a bar of it. There was no self-pity allowed whatsoever.
Which, I mean, in a caddy, I mean, that's what you want, but I guess it's unexpected from, a young man who's still sort of, developing his mindset and focus. It's pretty amazing, actually.
He's doing pretty well. It's some pretty good work. I've got to say as well, he did have the odd swing as we went around when we were waiting, because it was such a slow day waiting on tee boxes. Like, come on, mate, you have a hit. He got one out 130 metres on one of the holes, which was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a story for another day. So we move at this point. Okay, so now we're 9 over. five to play. Playing off 11. Yep.
So how did you feel about that? Were you aware that it was 9 over, or did you?
I wasn't really. Sort of. I mean, I broadly knew, roughly speaking, where I was, but I really wasn't paying that much attention to the score. Because I was more just happy to be playing golf and happy to be playing some reasonable golf without it being great. I was just more annoyed that I'd sort of spoiled the card because I hadn't made a double at this point. So to make a double was a little bit disappointing. But anyway,
because obviously, you know, the focus for the day was to go out there without expectations and sort of just accept whatever comes. But a couple of holes where, you know, especially when you make a double and one of your focus points is to not make a double, that can sort of throw that mindset out a little bit. And obviously from the conversations with the young Mr. Hinks, you know, I was sort of thinking maybe that mindset was sort of going downhill a little bit, but he sort of pulled you back into shape.
I think he did really well on that, to be honest.
Yeah.
He did really well.
Yeah.
So I was still feeling okay. And I thought, look, if I just finish well, it won't be a bad score.
Yeah.
So we went to 5, which is, what is that, effectively 14th. Yep. And that's sort of the shortest par 3 on the course. It was playing 136 metres, pin tucked right on the right edge of the green. And I think you probably remember on this hole that green really drops away sort of almost with a false edge on the right-hand side, drops down quite sharply, so you don't want to mess with that. So I hit an 8-iron at the centre of the green, actually hit a really nice 8-iron, straight to the centre of the green, putting across the green, and I thought, well, if I run at this and I go past, I'm going to be off the green.
Yep.
So I lagged it up pretty well. It was a tap-in par, so fairly stress-free.
Nice.
And we move on to 6.
So good comeback after a double.
It was solid.
I know that 3 isn't necessarily the most difficult hole, but even still, the last thing you want to do, you know, following up a bogey double is to then, you know, follow that up with another bogey. So you've sort of shaken off the double and you've made a good solid, you know, tap in 2-putt par, and you know should be back into the mindset heading off to the 6th/15th hole.
Totally true. 5's a funny one though, because like it's not the hardest hole, but if you miss that green, there's nowhere good to miss it.
Yeah,
you know, like if you miss that green, you're making bogey, if not double. So you've got to hit the green. It's a generous green, in fairness, but it's also diamond shaped, so it's at its fattest in the centre, and then it tapers off at the back and it tapers off at the front. So it was. It's always the play on that is to try and pick a centre of the green number to give yourself the best opportunity, regardless of where the pin is. Anyway, it was good. I was happy with that. It was actually a really solid 8-iron, so I was more happy with that even than the score. So we move on to 6. Now 6, slight dogleg to the right, par 4, trees all the way up the right, out of bounds to the right of those trees, trees and another tee box to the left. You just got to hit this fairway. You know, if you hit this fairway, it's a gettable hole. If you miss it, you're chasing your tail a little bit.
Yeah, so, out of bounds though. I mean, that's a fair way, right? Though I don't ever remember standing on the 6th tee and going, "Oh, I've got to be careful of going right because the out of bounds is there."
So, a couple of things. You'd be amazed how many people go out of bounds there.
Yeah, right. That's a long way.
It's a big miss.
See, I'm more concerned. I know we've got the 9th coming up. In a few holes, but I'm more concerned standing on the 9th tee about how, and again, it's a long way right.
It's pretty similar. From the angle that you're teeing off.
Yeah, right. I'd never stood on the 6th and actually considered out of bounds was in play.
Yeah, will next time. And the other thing that happens is the trees on the right, I don't know what it is. They must all have angled trunks, because if you ever go in those trees on the right, spits it out of bounds straight away. Very rarely does it do anything other than that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like the Bermuda Triangle, those trees. So anyway, I hit a pretty good drive. It was just drawing just a touch into the tree line, but I was a fair way down, so I thought I should be okay. Got down there, all sorts of rough had grown in amongst those trees that didn't used to be there 2 months ago. And, far out, it was difficult to find the ball. I actually thought that I was going to hit the 3 minutes and have to go back to the tee box and play another one. And then as I was coming back along having a look, I found it. It would have been about 2 minutes and 58 seconds.
Yeah, right.
And I was next to a stake tree, so I had a drop, which didn't really help much because I was still kind of blocked out by some other trees between me and the green because I'd sort of had cut that corner a little bit. So I had to hit gap wedge. Had to hit a really solid gap wedge to get to the green. I hit a pretty good gap wedge, and I needed a gap wedge to get over the trees. Pulled up in the front fringe, so I didn't quite get on, but it wasn't a bad result. I lagged a putt up and tapped in for par, so
nice.
It was actually quite a good result. So we've gone par.
Yeah, so after you drive and thinking, just about to start walking back to the tee, I mean, to walk off with par is pretty. Yeah, that's a good result.
Yeah, that if I didn't find that ball then, that would have been challenging for sure. Yeah. But anyway, golf gods were there, so that's good. So we go to 7. 7 is the par 5 up the hill.
Yep.
Gettable hole, absolutely. Flush to drive, one of my better drives up the centre. Would then pulled 5 wood, try and nudge one up as close to the green as possible. And you remember on 4, the double cross, the pulled double cross? Well, that came out again.
Yeah,
straight into the right, straight into the right
and that's
trees.
Not good.
And that
you'd prefer to miss a little left than a little right. I mean, right's dead.
It was dead. So I had to pitch out sideways, which was disappointing. Hit a gap wedge pin high to about 12 feet, just burned the edge with the par putt, so tapped in for bogey, which felt like I'd given one back, Andy Walker, I've got to admit.
Yep. Yeah. And after the drive, I mean, if you get a good drive away on the 7th on that par 5, you're sort of expecting par at worst, and it's actually a reasonably
it's a birdie hole.
Yeah,
it's a birdie hole.
It's a birdie
every
hole
day of the week. Yeah, so that was to walk off with bogey. That was kind of felt like almost a 2-shot swing. Anyway, shrugged it off. So I was now 10 over 2 to play, playing off a handicap of 11 for the day.
Okay.
And at this point, I thought, this is not a bad round, hitting the ball reasonably well.
So did you start thinking about it?
A little bit, but then I also had the thought, do you remember the conversations that we had with Josh Nichols, I think it was, where we were talking about you don't have a score to lose at this point. All you have is 16 holes.
Yep.
But you don't have a score yet.
Yeah.
You haven't done it yet. You've only got 16 holes. You still got to play 2 more. So I had that conversation internally.
Right.
Went to the 8th. Now the 8th is a long par 3. It was playing 176 metres to a fairly small green, bunkers left and right. It's always a tough one to hit. So I pulled 4-iron again, flushed the 4-iron. It's landed on the left side of the green, just sort of rolled towards the back of the green, centre pin. One of my better iron strikes of the day, I've got to say. It was a good shot. And rolled my putt down to I was probably about 3 feet from my par putt.
Yep.
Late in the afternoon, we talked before about, the late tee off time. The sun was very low. And when you get all of the shadows of all of the imperfections on the green, and you get the spike marks, and not that people wear spikes anymore, but like you get all of the kind of little ridges, and it looks like you're putting on the lunar surface at this point.
Yeah.
So I paused, thought about it, put the line on the ball, just roll it end over end, made it, Andy Walker for a par.
Nice. And that's all you can do. Like all you do is pick your line, hit the shot, or hit the putt on the intended line, and the rest is up to the golf gods. You can't do it on. Yeah. And if it hits whether it be, the edge of a foot mark or whatever, at that time of day, it's out of your hands. And they even talk about it, they've been talking about a lot on the PGA Tour because they've played on a few of the courses with POA greens. And you get late in the afternoon. I mean, Shinnecock, they were just talking about it all throughout Shinnecock because of the POA greens, that in the afternoon for those late tee-off times, that's just something you've got to deal with. And sometimes good putts from relatively short range,
they will wander off.
They're not going to go in.
Yeah, 100%. So anyway, that meant we went to the final tee at plus 10 for the round.
Yep.
And at this point I was thinking, it's been a good day, it's not been an easy day. It's been a good day. And I thought, you know what, if I par this, I beat my handicap for the day.
Yep.
If I bogey it, I meet my handicap for the day. I just really don't want to double.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So and as you know, par 4, dog leg left, out of bounds up the right, but you don't want to go left either because those trees will just swallow you up and you have to punch out sideways. So anyway, I stepped up, picked my tree in the distance through the corner of the fairway, aimed at that, smoked it straight up, straight up the left centre past the corner. Perfect.
How good is it on 18 to smoke your drive?
So good.
To where your target is when you're having a good score.
So good.
That's such a good feeling.
So good. And it was one of those ones that just started online and it just never deviated. Like you're just watching, you're like, yep, that feels good. So anyway, we got up there. I was 125 metres out, thinking that's a 9-iron number. Then also thinking in the last half hour, the temperature literally had dropped about 10 degrees.
Yeah, right.
Because the sun got really low. It got really cold really fast. And,
so on a cool day to start off with, dropping another 10 degrees from there,
it was mid to low single digits at this point.
Yeah, was cold. That's not comfortable.
So I took an extra club. I took the 8-iron.
Smart move.
And I hit a really good, crisp 8-iron, kind of at the left edge of the green. Now there's bunkers left, there's bunker right, there's 2 bunkers left. And it was coming down. I'm like, ooh, is this going to go in the bunker? Is this going to land on the green? It was touch and go. And it's landed, I reckon, right on the top of the lip. Pitched, rolled down onto the green. And of course, because of the angle of the shoulder, it's pushed it closer and closer towards the hole. And I finished about 12 feet from the hole.
Nice. Did you actually see it land, or was it too dark?
I did see it land. I kind of lost it. I kind of lost it a little bit in the air as it started to dip, but then I saw the ball bounce as it landed on the edge.
So you knew from the fairway that you were on the green.
Yeah. So at this point, I thought this is good. So we got up there, and it was a frontish pin, so it was a very downhill, left to right, heavily braking putt, and I think on about a 12-foot putt that I would have had, I reckon I was playing about 3 feet of break.
Right.
Defensive, right?
Yeah.
Took the putter back and then smoked it. I felt like I'd smoked it. In fairness, it did bobble around a little bit because of the late afternoon greens, and it only went past by about 3 feet. But I felt like I'd hit it off the green, off the club.
Yeah. I was going to say it's not really what I wanted to hear with a downhill speedy putt on 18 when you've got a good round going.
Yeah, one of those ones though that just feel as you hit it, you just go, that's just gone off in the hand, right? Like it's
I've had that many times.
Yeah, it was that feeling. I'm like, oh no. Anyway, it actually didn't roll out too badly. It rolled about 3 feet past, left me with still a breaking 3-footer for par. But anyway, happily knocked it in, made par on the last for a 10 over par 81 in my return to competitive golf, Andy Walker. And I've got to say, I felt pretty happy with that. It did mean that the handicap moved from 10.0 back down to 9.6, back officially into the single digit category.
Excellent. Love it.
So that was nice.
So moral of the story, just take 2 months off and come back in a medal round? Is that now what the strategy is?
It would appear that is a strategy. Whether it's the right strategy is up for discussion, but that is a strategy. I mean, look, I think in reality, I think the good thing is, and what the moral of the story actually is about reducing expectations and having a feeling of gratitude for playing golf. I actually think that is more the story than take the 2 months off.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, with all that you've been through over the last few months, and we've discussed that a lot on the show. But yeah, it's being able to get out there and having a good day and enjoying the company, and just that feeling of getting out in the golf course and loving your surrounds. So I think that's got to take front and center.
Oh, look, absolutely, it does. And I'd like to say that I would have been able to then head off the course and have a nice beer in the clubhouse and enjoy the 19th hole with the boys, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do that. I had to run off, and I missed the collective wisdom of those in the 19th hole, which was a bit of a shame. But it was a great day out. It was good to see everyone again. It was actually really nice just before the round, running into a lot of people beforehand, and just it was one of those things. There's a real community around golf clubs, and it was just. Yeah, it was actually really nice to just get back out there and get into it, and obviously nice to hit the ball pretty well and put a reasonable score together. I finished on the day, I think it was 166 starters. I finished 9th in A grade. I finished 16th overall. And, from a scratch result off the stick, it was 20th in the field. So, it wasn't a bad day.
So what about from a strokes gain perspective? Do you have a breakdown of the?
I do.
The strokes gained. I'm interested to see. It sounded like you're off the tee. Because I know you've struggled a little bit off the tee in recent times. It sounds like that was certainly an improvement. Maybe not where you want it to be. But then sort of short game and putting and that sort of scrambling element, it sounds like sort of that was probably your strength.
Yeah, so the breakdown was driver, or tee shots rather, against a scratch benchmark, as we do. Driver, I lost 1.43 shots on off the tee, which, I feel like it probably wasn't as good as that, but then I did hit some really good tee shots as well as a few that weren't amazing. But I didn't get any penalties off the tee. I kind of mainly kept it in place. That's probably not too inaccurate. Approach shots minus 4.43, and that I think that's fair. And I struggled a little bit, certainly early on. When I did have a look at this, the back end though, that turned it around quite a bit. I jotted a few notes down. And I was saying, after the 5th onwards, so I hit that really tidy 8-iron on the par 3 5th. So this is on the back nine. Obviously, we played the holes the wrong way around. I hit a good wedge on the 6th over the trees, even though it's to the front fringe, but I had to go high. I hit a really good gap wedge on 7 to pin high. I'd lost my shot because of the second shot into the trees. Hit a really good 4-iron on 8 and another very tidy 8-iron on 9. So I'd finished the last 5 holes actually hitting irons pretty well.
Because it sounded like you struggled a bit.
I struggled early.
Your approach play early, and that may have, two things. Maybe course conditions in that it was a bit wet and it wasn't that firm under the ball. But B, there was always going to be a bit of sort of rustiness having taken 2 months out of the game.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's exactly that. But it was coming good towards the end, which I thought was encouraging. Short game, I lost half a shot. So that's pretty good because I've been losing sort of 2 to 3. Short game. And putting, I gained 0.07 of a shot.
Nice.
And I did putt. I thought I putted well.
Yeah.
There were a few. Interesting though, I hit 31 putts for the round. Nothing of any substance dropped.
Yeah,
like a lot of it burned the hole, but my lag putting was pretty good. I didn't put myself under pressure for 3 putts, other than on 12, which was the third hole, the par 5.
Yeah, but apart from that 3 putt, it's like while you didn't make anything of distance wise, you also didn't miss anything really that would be an expectation of making.
No. So it was solid. Yeah. And it was, I felt pretty good over putts. Like wasn't concerned. I didn't have any, there were no demons. Putts. Yeah.
Nice.
Which always helps. So
I look forward to those days.
You'll get there. Demons ride broomsticks. That's all I can say. So, no, look, I mean, all in all, I've left the course. I think I said this to you on a message. I left the course feeling satisfied. Was the overall feeling.
Yeah.
Wasn't the euphoria of a great round, but it was. I felt like I'd scrambled well. And in terms of where the game had been before the layoff, it's the best I've played in more than 2 months. It's the best I've played in probably 4 monts, I would say.
Yep. And did the young Mr. Hinks have any words of wisdom after the round?
He said, "I'm hungry."
Yep. So, as he would be.
Yeah. So no, it was good. It was a lot of fun. It was great having him out there as well. Like that just sort of felt like a bit of resolution to some of the stuff that we've been working our way through as a family. So that was really cool. Yeah.
But if I guess a good question, if you had have been able to get into the clubhouse, what do you think would have been those words of wisdom from the 19th hole prophet?
Oh, wow. Isn't that a question? Difficult one to answer. If only someone out there was writing golf rock songs that could help us understand this a little bit, I think that'd be amazing.
I reckon we could find someone that's doing that at the moment, and
do you think
maybe slot that in at the end of the episode?
Do you think anyone's out there, in all honesty, do you think anyone's out there writing songs about that guy in the clubhouse that's got all the answers, even though he can't play the game, but he tells a good story afterwards? Do you really think anyone's doing that?
I reckon there is.
Oh, well, strap yourselves in, Pilgrim. There's only one way to find out. What do you think, Andy?
Let's do it. Yep. Rock on, Pilgrims.
He rolls in off the 18th green with his visor hanging low, a pencil in his pocket and a scorecard full of woe. He's lost 3 balls in the water, 4 more somewhere right, but he'll fix your whole damn golf swing by closing time tonight. He says your grip is looking dodgy, your tempo's far too quick, you're lifting up your left side and your takeaway just won't stick. Then he orders up a schooner and points across the bar like a man who found the secret but just can't hit it far. He's the 19th hole prophet with wisdom after 6 beers. He's seen every slice and shank across the last 30 years. He's got a cure for your driver and a theory on your life. He can read the greens of marriage, though he's on his 3rd ex-wife. Raise a glass and gather round, let the clubhouse choir begin. He shot 103 today, but he knows how you should win. He says, mate, overthinking, you've gotta trust your natural draw. Then recalls the time at double when he nearly broke the course record. He had 4 lip outs for birdie, and the wind was in his face. And if the pins were somewhere normal, he'd have won the whole damn place. He tells young Matt to shallow it, tells Carrot to stand up tall, tells Mick his hips are lazy, tells Dave he's scared of the ball. Then he knocks back half his two-ways with the confidence of a king, and says golf is just like living, boys, it's all in how you swing. He's the 19th hole prophet with wisdom after 6 beers. He's seen every hook and bunker across the last 30 years. He's got a cure for your short game and a theory on your wife. He can read the breaking human pain, though he can't read putts to save his life. Raise a glass and gather round, let the clubhouse choir begin. He shot 103 today, but he knows how you should win. Then he leans back in his corner with a grin you can't resist. Says I'd be off about a 5 or 6 if not for one small twist. My back, my knee, my eyesight, the new balls spin too much, and every damn bunker has a personal grudge. So we'll be there next Saturday with a fresh excuse in hand, talking launch angles and pilgrimages like only legends can. He's half wrong and half magic, part coach and part old mate, and somehow after listening you don't feel so second rate. He's the 19th hole prophet with wisdom after 6 beers. He solved every swing and heartbreak across the last 30 years. He's got a cure for your driver and a sermon for your life. He can save your soul from slicing, but he can't outdrive his wife. Raise a glass and gather round, let the clubhouse choir begin. He shot 103 today, but he knows